Hello and welcome. Welcome to our Year of the Earth Dog Feng Shui preview call. This is call number 2. And, we just want to play a little bit today with Feng Shui, answer some questions, and I will talk about some of the points about advanced space Feng Shui and anything else that comes up. So, as you know, and especially if you're following Feng Shui, that the Year of the Earth Dog started around mid-February. And those of you who have placed holographic Feng Shui orders, I'm doing them as fast as I can now. Generally, it takes a little longer at the beginning because all the new orientation and new information that comes in, sometimes they come in after some of the setups, and then I kind of redo some of the setups also. So, but many of you have already, received your a Feng Shui Earth Dog, setup results, and the energies are really, really high this time. So I'll talk about a bunch of these options, and I'll give you some ideas about what's happening and the energies and everything. So first thing is what I want to mention about this year is recently, I guess a few weeks ago, I was talking to a few people, and we talked about health and wellness, and then health Feng Shui hologram showed up. So I've been adding the health and wellness hologram to your setup, and that becomes a part of your home or business. So that will send out health and wellness energy for your setup. Okay, so I think since most of you are familiar with Feng Shui, and you have the first preview call available where I've gone through a lot of details, so I will skip most of those options and I will just talk about some more specifics. Okay, so let me actually show you one of the recent Feng Shui hologram setups, and I will give you some information based on what you see on the screen. Let me share my screen, and there we go. So this is an Excel spreadsheet, and when you get your setup results, you get a spreadsheet like that. Those of you who have gone through other Feng Shui setups in the past, you already are familiar with this. And if you're brand new, you have never done any holographic Feng Shui, then after the setup, you will get something like this. Now, I've removed the name and address. This is one of the recent Feng Shui setup from that was done in China. More the addresses in China, and your images that you provide goes here. So when I look at the option, when I look at the address and the images, I zoom into your property, and some of the steps that happen is, first there is a deep cleansing of 1 mile radius, sometimes more, of your property and around your property. So I do that so that I can bring in some of the stronger energies for the area and the planet. So then I do some atomic structure alignment too, and that helps Earth to hold a much stronger vibration of energy and information. So by doing the holographic Feng Shui, your property, either your home or office or business or land, that actually becomes almost like an acupuncture point or a meridian point, or a strong vortex point on Earth. And Earth can absorb a lot of cosmic energies through those points. So by doing the Feng Shui, first of all, you help raise the planetary vibration a lot, and then we can send out a lot of these energies to different parts of the planet. So your home doesn't hold super high vortex of energy, like you're going to ascend or anything like that. What it becomes is it becomes a conduit or a vortex of yeah, a high vibrational energy on Earth. So that's why for this year, you can notice that the energy is really, really high. So for this particular home, since there was no feng shui setup in the past, the prior to the setup, so the setup was done on March 8th, 2018, and the measurement that was done for before setup was for February 21st, and a few days after the setup, on March 11th, there was another measurement done. So this is before and after measurement done, so that you can see the difference. And for this particular property, since there was no setup, feng shui setup, before March 8th, on for February 21st, the energy level of the property was -6. Now, it's not a, don't look at it as a good or bad thing. Generally, on Earth, without feng shui setup, most properties have a range between -15 and +15. There are some that are outside of that, but generally that's what I have seen for probably like a decade or so. And I've been setting up holographic feng shui starting, I think, around 2011, 2012. But before that, even when I looked at traditional feng shui measurements, the before energy level usually was between -15 and +15. In a traditional model, when your home or office or property has an energy level of, let's say, +20, +25, it's considered pretty good. +50 is high, +70, 80 is like really good energy. And if it, could get to like 1,000 plus, that means like, extraordinary energy. They're like mountaintop homes and really awesome feng shui homes. They would have that level of energy. Now with holographic feng shui, the difference is that since your, property becomes a vortex point on Earth, it can channel a lot of cosmic energy, meaning it can bring in Earth, can bring in a lot of cosmic energy through that area. Not just your home, but the surrounding too, but primarily, your space. So then that's why, since your big home or property becomes a vortex on Earth, then the energy level becomes very high. In this case, the Earth Dog energy level, what that I'm seeing so far is around 3.8 billion. So which is really cool. So then when this type of energy and information gets distributed throughout the planet, then the planet can receive a lot of that energy, and that can be used for humanity and for our consciousness expansion. So that's really important, and thanks for playing so that we can raise the collective energy together. Okay. So there are a number of things that happen in the advanced feng shui, which is primarily this. Most of the time when people think about feng shui, they think about rearranging the furniture, the bed, the desk, and maybe paint of your wall. That's just basic space feng shui, which is about 10% of space feng shui. But then there's the advanced level of space feng shui, which is all these, I'm looking at the chart now, the stress line, the Hartman line, Curry lines, negative vortex, positive vortex, interference lines, karmic lines, wormholes, number of spirits, entities, and forms in the area, and a few others like empty lines, crossing of temple lines. So think about this. If you have a negative vortex in a home or in a business, then that's just downward spiraling energy. So even if you have a good feng shui, good space feng shui, the negative vortex alone will counter a lot of that. and it just creates a downward spiraling energy. And for retail spaces, what Feng Shui masters have seen is negative vortex would create a lot of mistakes and loss of money, or people doing not so nice things in those areas that would cause a lot of disturbance for a home or a business. So negative vortex is certainly something that you need to heal to raise the energy level. And with the Feng Shui holograms, those get converted to positive vortex points, so that those are upward rising energy. Then they can actually help your home and property to have a stronger measurement when it comes to Feng Shui. So if you have, those of you who know more about Feng Shui measurements, if you actually look at a measurement of a negative vortex, and if you're doing a measurement directly at the center of a negative vortex, you would see a counterclockwise spin that's happening, continuously. And for a positive vortex, it will be a clockwise spin or rotation of the dial or instrument or dowsing rod, or those of you who use pendulums, there could be so many different ways to do that, but there would be a constant clockwise rotation for a positive vortex. So that's how in Feng Shui, these rotations are seen. Negative or counterclockwise rotation is for a negative vortex or a -1 energy level, and clockwise rotation is for a positive vortex or +1 energy level. So, they can be done using instruments that can detect some of these lines and vortex energies, or, the Feng Shui rods, the dowsing rods for Feng Shui. Some people use pendulums or crystals. That's how basically a lot of the measurements are done, and people can check, different types of energy levels. And many of you are very sensitive, so you can notice the difference between, before and after. That's something, that's also a comment that I often get, that you've noticed that your energy level is different, or you're experiencing different dreams. So notice that when the setup happens. One of the things that happen is, especially if it's a new setup, you may go through a temporary detox. So notice that also. If you're having a lot of dreams, when you're sleeping, your brain processes a lot of data, so you can process some of that information and shift those energies. And overall, once you have the Feng Shui holograms set up, your space, supports you. Your space supports your journey, your meditation, your healing, your ideas, your creativity, everything. So that's why it's really important that we all focus on having our environment support us, so that we can take that out of the way, and we can really focus on creativity, possibilities, options, and abundance and prosperity, health, and other things that are important for us. Okay. So let's talk about a geopathic stress line. I'll briefly talk about a few of these. Geopathic stress line often shows up in the form of cracks on your property or around your property, and often they happen because of stress on earth or constructions that may be happening around you. So these days there are so many constructions happening everywhere, so that's why we also see a lot of geopathic stress lines. And once the holographic Feng Shui is set up, now the cracks are not going to seal by themselves, but the equations of those interference and geopathic interference that get neutralized. So then 28 of geopathic stress line before becomes 0 geopathic stress lines after it was set up, the feng shui holograms are set up. Similarly, we have negative Hartman and Kari lines. Dr. Hartman and Dr. Kari, came up with these lines, and they're like latitude and longitude on the planet. There are Earth's natural electric grid. So these are not good or bad lines. They are a part of the planet. The issue is, similar to our, current and electric grid, there are positive and negative points on these grids. And if a negative intersection of a Hartman and Kari line falls on your electric grid, like one of the electrical outlets in your home, or in the worst case scenario, on the point through which electricity comes to your home, like the meter or the primary point of entry, or all those lines, or like, if you have like an electric pole on that line, then the property becomes negative, meaning a lot of that static electricity and interference energy from the Hartman and Kari lines, they show up on the property. And a lot of feng shui masters talk about how a lot of kids, when you see they're using too much metal all over their body, and a lot of let's say kind of like disturbing artwork that they may be using. A lot of times that's because of these interference of the Hartman and Kari lines, and it interferes with their natural brain or neural activities, and it puts them in a different mode, so it creates a lot of disharmony for them. So if you notice that, then that may be one of the options. That's not the only option, these lines, but it could be something that's contributing to some of those types of behavior where people just go into very, very dense energy and artwork and other things. So that's that. I talked about negative and positive vortex already. Interference lines is something, there are different types of interference energies that can go through your property. It's one of those lines, it can come in many different shapes from many different directions. With the holograms, they actually get neutralized. All these, lines and vortices on your property, they get neutralized at the perimeter and go beyond. So a surge gets sent through those lines, and so that a lot of other properties around your home or office can also benefit from neutralizing some of these stress lines. Now, karmic lines, in some of the feng shui setups, it's calculated, like some of the feng shui masters look for that, so I added that to number of wormholes. There are naturally occurring wormhole. Now, wormhole, it doesn't mean like a gigantic wormhole opening up on your property like a sci-fi movie. It's not that, but there are micro wormholes that pop in and out of existence, and some of that is a natural part of energy distribution, and some happen because of interference. So I look at doing a lot of healing for like a mile radius, so that these wormholes that are causing a disturbance in the area can be healed, and those energies or those points can be sealed, so that it helps the planet, it helps the your property, it helps the properties around you. Okay, and then this is interesting to the entities and spirits in the area. So in what I've noticed is that areas where war took place in the past, or any kind of violence happened, or any type of disturbance happened, there's a lot of entities and spirits and attachments in those areas. There are people who look at pushing them out of a particular area. That's not what I like to do. Or what I do is I run different processes so that lessons are brought for them and they heal themselves so that they lose interest in staying here on earth. So wherever they need to go, a vortex opens up for them, and then they can leave earth more happily. So you don't necessarily want to push some of these disturbance across the street because it's still there. So a better way of doing that is to really bring in lessons, heal them, heal all the parties who are involved, and then help them to transition or cross over or to go wherever they need to go. So then the area is more peaceful, and those who are experiencing those or experience those disharmony and if they were trapped, maybe they could be more peaceful. So then the other couple of things I want to mention is, one is empty lines, and traditional feng shui doesn't talk about these two, the empty lines and temple lines, because there isn't really much of a solution. Using some I Ching, there could be a little bit of transformation of energy that can happen. Some people know about that, but very few. But most of the time, when it comes to feng shui setup, those who are setting up feng shui generally don't talk about these advanced feng shui, advanced space feng shui. So that's a part of a setup that you get with the holograms, that all of these are done for you. Empty line is about, there are lots of empty lines about every, I think, if I remember correctly, about every 12.5 degrees, there is a spot where it creates some confusion. So there is like a lack of information. It's almost like a switch, when you're using cell phone. So when you're switching from tower to tower, then sometimes calls can drop. These days, we have better options, but there is a gap or an overlay. So sometimes empty lines can cause some disharmony. And especially, if these empty lines are going through you when you're sleeping or when you're doing some work, because of that void energy, and this is not the cosmic void energy, but it's like that lack energy, or the lack of proper information flow, that energy, that can cause some disturbance in the physical body or for the mind. So when you are sitting at empty line intersections or those empty line degrees, that can cause some interference and lack of motivation, or making just silly mistakes. A lot of that can happen. And so then those get corrected, in the holograms. The reason traditional feng shui doesn't really talk about them, because there are a lot of these empty lines, and they don't really know what to do with these empty lines, but they create equations, so the equations can be healed. Okay, so now the other one is temple lines. Temple lines are 0, 90, 180, 270, and 360 degrees. Even though 0 and 360 are the same, but the rotation is slightly different, so that still creates a temple line. In the old days, temples, churches, mosques, a lot of our religious organizations were built using temple lines, facing temple lines, and on temple lines, so that there would not be relationships inside those institutions or organizations. So when temple lines intersect your property, or it's coming through your front door, like it's directly facing 90 degrees, 180 degrees, or your bedroom door has those temple line intersections, then or like facing the temple lines, then your home or business can create some of that temple vibration. And what happens at that point is, sometimes you just lose connection to people, to earth. You just want to be suddenly too spiritual, or you just want to let go of everything. You just want to become maybe a monk and go somewhere and just meditate on the mountaintop. There's nothing right or wrong about that, but when the lines are causing that interference in your system and for your field, and so that you make those decisions without like involuntarily, you make those decisions that would cause disturbance. So that's why it's important to heal the temple lines, especially for relationships. Some temple lines cause disharmony in romantic relationship. Some temple lines cause disharmony in, for siblings, for other kind of relationships or partnership. So once these equations are healed or these lines are changed, then you don't need to deal with those energies anymore, and the either the home or the office could have a more harmonious environment. So that's a big chunk of the advanced space feng shui that I wanted to talk about. And the holographic feng shui actually has all those holographic holograms set up that would neutralize these or heal these or harmonize these, so that you don't really have to put metals, rods, crystals, and gemstones and colors all over your home or office. And you can decorate, but you don't have to do this from fear or a need, because the holograms do that. And the issues that traditional feng shui has difficulty transforming, holographic feng shui can do that, because it's actually reshaping your space and adding or changing the equations that are causing disharmony. So for your property, there's a space feng shui hologram that takes care of the space feng shui and advanced space feng shui. Then there's a Kuan number hologram that helps with the directional energies. So it helps to activate the empowering directions for you and harmonize or heal the magnetic orientations that cause more disharmony or weakens your field. It's a better way of saying that. So there's a feng shui hologram for that. Then there is a Art Dog period feng shui hologram. Now we are currently in period 8. Those of you who know about it, it started in 2004 and till the beginning part of 2024, we are going to be in period 8 feng shui or period 8 when it comes to the flying star arrangement. So the way there are yearly flying stars, which is more known because the Chinese New Year talks about all those yearly flying stars and all those numbers. Like this is 2018 Earth Dog flying stars. So 2, 5, 3, and 7 needs to be harmonized or healed, and 1, 4, 6, 8 can be activated for what they do, and the information is here on the site also. And at the center this year we have 9, which is for period 8. It's this flying star helps to multiply information. So for more abundance, success, prosperity, that energy is added for the center of your home. So there's a 20-year cycle that gets transformed for the period flying star. And then there is the Earth Dog Feng Shui hologram or flying star hologram, which is the yearly cycle. So every year it changes. And all of these work together. So once the setup is done, then the calculation is done so that they kind of work with each other, so that whatever the space is doing, space hologram, then the period hologram can add to it. And if adjustments need to be made, then the adjustments are made when I set them up. And then the last layer is the yearly flying star. So the other thing is the Earth's plates are moving and Earth's magnetic orientation is changing too. So these period flying stars, yearly flying stars, they don't necessarily stay static. They're also moving. So the Feng Shui holograms actually compensate for them, and they also rotate with with any of the changes. So that's why it makes it more powerful, and they can maintain a much higher level of energy and information. Okay, so when you have your order set up, you get a spreadsheet like that. And when you have multiple years, you'll be seeing different tabs here. So that's how space feng shui is done, and some of the holographic feng shui is set up. And I'll just give you a brief overview. So let me stop sharing the screen now, and see. So the important thing is, when you have the holograms set up, your environment can help to help support you in your goals or visions or ideas that you have. So that's why it's really important that you play with those energies. And if you get attracted to activate certain areas with certain colors, like where you see one energy, which is water energy. If you get attracted to put something that represents water or blue, then feel free. There is no restriction for you. Sometimes I get those questions, but what I have seen is even the feng shui consultants who know about feng shui well, who set up feng shui, who know how to do measurements, once the holographic feng shui is set up, they stop applying the cures because it's not really necessary. However, here is what I would mention. I've also had questions from people who were scared because their local feng shui store or somebody else said if they don't place certain objects in certain parts of the home, then they're going to have a lot of bad luck and other things. If you're operating from that fear, then until you can rise above it, feel free to place some of the cures. Doesn't matter. The holograms will neutralize them anyway, but for your mental satisfaction, you can certainly do that. And once you notice or realize or can rise above that it's not necessary, then you don't have to deal with the cures anymore. So just play with those energies. And I constantly look at fine-tuning the holograms and look at what's coming in, and then I apply those information for you. The other thing as I also do is I run a lot of love energy, rose energy, restoring our abundance vortex for your home, for the year, and then the liquid luck program for the year. So I run a lot of those energies, for these 12 months for the Earth Dog year, so your home can receive those energies. One of the ways you can constantly keep raising your vibration and bringing in more of the abundance and flow towards you is, run the rings of harmony, restoring our abundance, liquid luck, love is power, or the rose vortex, if you have that from the recent relationship program. So then run them, run them for yourself, run them for your property. Then you constantly keep raising the energy of the property and yourself, so that your home or your business can get much stronger energetically, and you can get much stronger energetically. Yeah, so think about restore inner abundance, creating a golden vortex of codes, information, maybe golden coins, and it's spiraling through yourself and through your entire property. And maybe, if you have backyard or lawn, through your lawn too. So think about that golden vortex spiraling through your entire property and helping you to attract more abundance and prosperity in all areas. Think about rose energy spiraling through that entire property and bring in more love energy. Think about maybe emerald green healing energy from nature spiraling through the entire property and bringing in more healing. If you have trees or plants around your home or in your home, bring in some of these energies and run these energies for all the trees, plants, flowers. So then, you constantly energize nature and your property with all this information. So, by doing that, you can really help raise the vibration, and you can set up your home and property to support you in a much better way. And those of you who do maybe healing workshops at home, or you have your office at home, then all these setups will certainly help you, because it helps you your client to be in a state so that your client can receive more information. And now with the healing hologram, when you have clients home, think about the healing holograms healing hologram is active with all those. It has actually 6 points, so 6 points around your home project the healing hologram. So think about, you don't have to know where those points are, but just think about the healing hologram is active, and ML green healing energy is filling up your entire home and property. And your client receives all the solutions and healings. You receive all the healing. Your family receives all the healing. So you can play with those energies that way. Okay. Let's see. So let's see if I want to talk about anything else. Yeah, I think I pretty much covered all the points that I wanted to cover. And so if you have questions, then you can raise your hand by using the control panel. And if you're on the webcast, then you can submit your question. And then after the questions, then I will take you through a journey. And we will do a little more space clearing and bring in more love, abundance, and healing energies for your property. Okay. Now, the other question is, I guess, let's say you will be placing your order now. So how fast do you get it? I would say most likely early April. So, we still have a queue from everybody who ordered in, let's say, right from the beginning of January through now. So I'm going through as many setups as I can, every day. And it takes some time also, because I need to look at each property and tune into the property, the area, and notice what information comes through that property before I set up the holograms. So each property takes some time. So that's why once I catch up pretty soon, I'm hoping to catch up toward the end of this month, then it's going to get much faster, and we can move more into a regular schedule. But if you're placing your order now, then you'll get it, I would say, about in a few weeks, more like maybe in the second week of April or so. Okay. So if you have any questions, then you can raise your hand using the control panel. From Suzanne, there's a question: if you add mirrors into your space after I've done the feng shui, does it impact any of these numbers? Will it directly impact any of the numbers? I would say no, but depending on what you want to do. Some people place mirrors for feng shui. So if you're talking about feng shui, mirrors to do certain things, that's something different. The numbers are not, I guess your question is, the numbers going to go down or not? No, it's not going to go down or anything else. Sometimes over a period of, or throughout the year, gradually the number increases. because from what I've seen from the houses that had fire rooster setup, let's say their measurement was I think 2.8 billion or 2.6 billion, and for a lot of the before measurements for those properties now were like 2.8 billion. So it went up a couple hundred million points. So that's still a huge number for traditional feng shui, but with the holograms, then since it's more math and vortex, it can handle the information. Now, the other thing is I also started to do some deep cleansing of your mirrors, which I didn't mention, and I haven't mentioned it yet, but maybe the next time I'll talk about that. So mirrors hold information, mirrors hold energy, mirrors hold memory. What a lot of spiritual teachings teach us is it takes about 17, 18 seconds for a person's imprint to get into the mirror when he or she looks at the mirror. So your mirrors, and you notice that in movies around magic and miracles and alchemy and sorcery, a lot of information can be retrieved from the mirror. That's why they do that, because there's an imprint and energy and memory or data mirrors hold. So helping cleansing the mirrors would help raise the energy, especially when other people have lived in a home. So that's why it's also beneficial when you run the rings of harmony for your mirror, and you can run any of the tools for your mirror. So then your mirror can hold some of these energies. What I do with my mirrors in the bathroom is I bring in a lot of star energies in the mirrors too. I run Restoring Our Abundance, I run Liquid Luck, and more than that, I bring a lot of stellar energy. So when I look at the mirror, when I brush my teeth, then the mirror can interact with me. Those stellar energies can interact with me through the mirror. So that's why that way the mirror energy is clean. Okay. All right, that's a good question. Let me take a look at the webcast and see if there are any questions there. From Maria, thank you for the wealth information. I'm a fire element and I understand I should use wood colors. I've never been attracted to brown colors. Are there earth colors besides brown? I love blue, green, sand, gold, orange, violet, purple. So so here's the thing though. We all need a harmony of all elements. It's not just one, but the idea is, wearing brown all the time is not really that attractive. So, and it's not that really that empowering. So you can, when you have fire element, you can wear fire colors. You can bring in other colors too. It doesn't really matter. But the thing is, if you are overwhelmed by elements that do not support you directly, then you can diminish a lot of the energetic influence or the benefits that some of the other color frequencies can have for you. So just keep that in mind. It's not just what you're wearing, but what's around you. So, for example, if you are wood, wood is your primary element, and then everything around you is about fire, and that means fire burns wood. So you're bringing a lot of that energy. That's not necessarily beneficial. You want to bring in some fire element for passion. It's also passion for giving your energy for transformation, but bring in a lot of water energy too. So the idea is to having a harmonious cycle or a productive cycle as much as you can. Okay. Let's see. I don't see any hand raised. All right, awesome. So let's play with a little bit of journey for today. And let me. For the journey, I guess we can play with the earth dog image. Let me put up the earth dog image for you. All right. Gently focus on your heart. Close your eyes and begin to breathe in and out. Let's activate or refresh your harmonic shield. It helps you to create your personal power vortex. Let's bring up spiraling earth energy from the center of earth and allow the earth energy to come up through your lower chakras and your feet. Ground yourself. And let's bring down spiraling rays of the sun through your higher chakras and your crown. Allow these energies to spiral through you up and down, creating a vortex between the earth and the sun. Allow the energies to get stronger. Now let's focus on your home. Let's focus on running the rings of harmony for every object in your home. You can imagine or visualize dirty water coming out of your entire property and going into a recycling bin where that energy and information gets transformed, goes back to source, and you continue to receive a higher vibration of cosmic energies through you and for your property. And I will create an energetic vortex with the rays of the sun and some earth energy and some other healing energies. And let's bring that energy through every room of your property, through every part of your property, through all rooms, closets, everything, through the walls, through the earth. And expanding to the part of the planetary grid that your home is connected to, the part that sends you information, almost like your Wi-Fi connection to Earth's grid. You can imagine or visualize a strong vortex of these energies going all the way up and running a deep cleansing and healing for that space, including the planetary grid. Simply keep focusing on running this vortex of energies and information. Just focus on your entire property is becoming bright, shiny, and vibrant. Let us now focus on the collective consciousness of the roses, and let's bring in a rose vortex energy, and let's run that for your property. So think about rose energies and rose petals spiraling through your entire property, every room, every closet, every object, through the walls and around your property. And it's going all the way up to the planetary grid, bringing in a lot of rose energies for that area. Let us now bring in a golden spiraling vortex of abundance energy. And let's also restore inner abundance for your property. And allow that golden vortex to go all the way up, helping raise the vibration of that entire space. Allow the energies to get stronger for you. And allow these energies to spiral through the entire year for you. Let's breathe in and out, deeply and gently a few more times. Let's come back to your present moment. Rub your hands together and gently open your eyes. Welcome back. All right. So play with the energies of this year. This year, the art dog year, it really helps you to bring in and ground a lot of manifestation energies, things that you have thought about, accomplishing, or things that I have thought about manifesting. So you can bring in and anchor those energies, but certainly, you want to play with those energies. So keep thinking about the best case scenario, thinking about, what you would love to experience and attract, and keep running some of these tools and processes. And when you have the feng shui set up for your home or office, then you shift your environment to support you so you can do some of those things faster. So the idea is really to make sure that you play in every possible way, and then just keep focusing on your vision, focusing on what you would love to experience, focusing on enhancing your skills, playing more with some of the cosmic energies, and allow the feng shui holograms to help you set up that environment. Okay, so once you have, if you haven't placed your order, or if you haven't upgraded, then you can place your order anytime, and then you're going to be added to the queue. And as soon as your property is set up with the feng shui, you will get the guide and the results document. And just to remind you, the healing hologram is there. So once you have the feng shui set up for your home, think about just becoming one with your home and having your home turn on that healing properties. Just think about everything becoming, emerald green, bright, shiny emerald green, like nature, a lot of nature, like, trees and leaves and plants. And it's bringing you a lot of healing energy for yourself, for your family, for your clients. Just play with those energies and, interact with the feng shui holograms, even if you don't see them or don't know exactly where they are and what they look like and what they're doing. All the calculations are there. So now think about where the, look at the flying stars and think about, where you have all these abundance, prosperity stars and all those energies. Think about focusing on those energies and those parts of your home, and run a lot of restoring their abundance there. Run liquid luck there. Run some of the other programs or processes or star energies there for yourself, for your property, for your vision. And that way you can raise the energy and continue to, align more with your higher vision and purpose, and then continue to move forward and shift a lot of resistance and energy information that do not support you. You can change them. Okay. So thanks for joining. Let me take another look and see if there's any other question in the chat window. Nope. All right, awesome. So thanks for playing. And if you're, the other thing is, if you have one of the older feng shui hologram setup, not from last year, then you can also still just upgrade. Just select the upgrade option. Any feng shui hologram that you have set up, even if it's from 2012, 2013, and you can still just upgrade instead of a new setup. Every time I do a new setup anyway, but if you have one of the other holograms, then you still have the upgrade option. I just replace everything else that you have from the past years, like the feng shui holograms, flying star holograms, spirit hologram, Kua hologram, everything. So let's play with those holograms. Let's play with your property. Let's run a lot of the tools and allow your property to empower you for success. So you can set up for your home, office, or there are business holograms that have slightly different calculations. So you can set up your business using business holograms. And if you have land like farmland, and then you have the other option, then that would be like more of a land hologram. It deals with vitamin, nutrition, and everything else, minerals and everything else for the land. So there are a bunch of different options. If you have questions, ask by sending an email to support@lifeharmonized.com. Otherwise, let's play, explore, and create a lot of magic in the art style year. Bye-bye.